Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. I'm just letting you all know right now that I won't be on camera. Okay. So you see my thumbnail that's going to be up there. And as you all are here and coming in, y'all make sure y'all hit that like button. And if you like what you see, please do subscribe. Here is my channel handle. Please subscribe. I really would appreciate it. I really would appreciate it. Once again, I won't be on camera, but please welcome to PETV underscore reacts. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. We are here for season 2, episode 3 of Cross. The title is called Feed. Now we have I won't recap, but I will let you know that episode 2 was entitled Scattered, and then episode 1 was entitled Harrow. And the overall theme of the season, or the overall the book, as you would say, is bitter fruit. And it's fitting because we're finding out that the Duolingo murder twins, that's what I'm calling them, Rebecca and Donnie, are committing murders on behalf of Rebecca's mother, because apparently Rebecca's mother was a doctor, and she was pruned from the timeline when Rebecca was a little child. Rebecca is upset that she kind of missed her childhood and everything because she had to go live with her aunt, and she didn't know much about her mom or anything like that. So I wanted to go back over. Those are the motivations for the Duolingo twins. We also have John's mother, who has been um, arrested for murder, and he's finding out that his mom is alive when Nana mom has told him that his mother had passed away. We find out that she is alive, and he is wrestling with those things and those feelings. We also have Alex. He's wrestling with his feelings for Elle. Basically, Elle has told him, no, I don't want to be, we can have booty calls, but we ain't gonna be in no relationship. So she's friend zoned him. And like I said in episode 2, I don't like that. Just go ahead and make a clean break. But she wants to be in his life with his family or something like that. And I don't understand that. Clean break, clean break. So as the episode starts, we see there is a flashback of when John met Alex. Nana mom brought John to the home, and they seem to have hit it off real quickly. And then we find out it's John that's having that flashback. He wakes up because there's a knock on the door, and Cross is coming to pick him up. John's like, hey, I thought we were going to meet at the airport, because again, there's still tension between these two. They're not talking, and they're having the conversation, and Cross reveals that he knew, remember I said he knew about John's mother being alive. He said that she came by the house. He never saw her, so he didn't know what she looked like, but he did overhear John's mother and Nana mom discussing possible adoption. And she asked Miss Duvernay, who is John's mother, to sign the paperwork for John to be adopted. And she even wanted to pay her $5,000 for that. And since the mother wouldn't pay for the adoption, that's why he had to stay in foster care. But I call Cap. And the reason why I do that is that mother had been gone for so long, and she had had no contact with her child, and he was in the home of Nana mom. Nana mom could have adopted him. They could have terminated his parental rights, and they could have adopted him. I have the sneaky feeling that there's more to that story. I don't know if John's father is going to come into the picture or not, because he didn't know nothing about his mama, so we don't know anything about his dad. I think it's going to be something suspicious about that, because apparently Nana mom paid her the $5,000, and she still didn't sign the paperwork, which to me doesn't make any sense. Me being a former social worker, that doesn't make any sense, because after a certain period of time, the judge would have been like, hey, you've got a person that wants to adopt this child. Let's get this moving. Let's terminate these parental rights. Let's keep it moving. I'm not sure how they do it up in the Washington D.C. area, but clearly it's a different system. Prior to them going to the airport, Cross asked John if the situation was reversed, would he tell him? And John said yes. I would have told him, and he said I would have helped you picked up the pieces. And so we see clearly there is some cracks in this friendship, and we also see too that excuse me, that Cross can get a little one sided. It's like he likes for his friends to give him the attention, but when it comes for him to do the right things for his friends, it don't seem to work out like that. And that might be a fracture in their relationship. I don't know. But what was interesting, I think it was in the first episode, John tells Cross, hey, you don't need to be working with Craig, because you how you two are. You don't need to be working with her. So I don't know if there was some alluding to something or not, but we will definitely get into episode 3 and it kinds of flesh out this information. And when I thought it was funny that when after Cross gives his answer to John, John was like, let's go to Texas. So he's very matter of factly. So they're going to work together and do the job. But I think that their friendship is probably fractured because of this. And and it should be, because there's no reason in the world, if you don't know that this woman is passed away. Don't tell a child that his mama's passed away and then he grows up and finds out that his mama is not, because here he is, they seem to be within their 30s. He could have had an opportunity earlier at, it's a lot of stuff. I just have some mixed emotions on that, and I don't want to spend this review on that. So we got the Duolingo murderers. They're running around looking for a young boy named Francisco. So they go to Rebecca's mother's. Apparently, we find out this is Rebecca's mother's hometown, and they're looking for Francisco. They end up finding out that the whole town was working at the factory or whatever it was, and they find Francisco. And baby, when I tell you, he looked like he went through a meat grinder, because his face was all cut up, and you could tell. And he says, well, Rebecca, your mother saved me. She patched me together and everything. She saved me. And he looked like he was going through the ringer. And apparently, a couple of other children were pruned from the timeline by someone named Paul, who owned a factory as well, because they knew exactly what happened to Francisco. So I think that Duolingo Rebecca, I think her mother hid Francisco from them. So she may have told them that he had died, and she just kept him and made sure that he was okay. And I think that they found out that Francisco lived, but they didn't know where Francisco was. And so I think that's why Rebecca's mother was pruned for the timeline. You all let me know. So you remember I told you that Craig and Cross got a lead about Lincoln being in Texas. And so they go down to Texas. Baby, they meet at a truck stop, at a gas station. They noticed something funny at the gas station, that they noted that the drivers changed, but the drivers didn't talk to each other. And there's like a whole bunch of people in there. They see Lincoln. Lincoln is going up under the truck. He's taking all these different pictures. And then the next thing you know, there is a shootout. And baby, when I tell you there is a shootout, that is a shootout. So then we have a agent from Homeland Security that's there. And he seems a little suspect to me, because initially what happens, there is a shootout, and then there is a big high-speed chase with the 18-wheeler. The guy who's driving the 18-wheeler, he decides to just jettison the back cab of his truck, and we find out that there are children in the back half of that truck. It gets to sliding and skipping down the road, and it comes to a halt. They get the children out, and at the end, in the back of the truck, way back, there is a guy holding a child by gunpoint, right? So they're doing, Craig and Cross are doing what they need to do to try to get the man to drop the gun and drop the gun and let the boy go. But before that could happen, bam, Homeland Security shoots this man in the head with this child being that close to him. And baby, when I tell you everybody was upset, and everybody was upset. And excuse me, Mr. Homeland Security was acting like it's all in a day's work. And I'm like, no, there's something suspect. I think that Homeland Security officer was in on all of this stuff. That's the way I feel. Because he made two shots. He shot two people that day that didn't need to be shot. They could have taken them in and asked questions, but he was really making sure that they wasn't going to ask any questions. And they peeped that. So they had Lincoln in the back of a truck. After all of this, they got the children where they needed to go. They got Lincoln in the back of the truck. They're going to interrogate Lincoln. And who's in the back of the truck with Lincoln? You guessed it. The old dirty Homeland Security officer. He's looking suspect. He's in there talking to the suspect before they get there. And at this point, Cross is upset. He's like, you know what? This don't seem right because you really don't have the jurisdiction that you have. And I want to know, how is it you've got all this stuff going on in your patch and you don't know nothing about it? And that's what made me realize and know that I think he was being paid off. I think he was being paid off. And let me just finish this little part of the story. While Craig and Cross are doing whatever they needed to do, no, we're linking ahead. We're going ahead. We're going ahead. I apologize for that. So you remember I told you at the end of last episode, Craig got Bobby Trey out of got him out of the prison because she needs for him to look for Ibrahim. And he's trying to find her, and then it ends up he's just on the phone getting a pedicure. And I'm like, he's getting his pedicure, but the nail tech that's giving him this pedicure is real flirty. She got his feet all betwixt her breast and everything. She getting real flirty. I'm like, what in the world is going on? Next thing you know, Bobby Frey and the nail tech are in there. They doing the doggone nasty. Now we done got who we got doing the nasty? We got Aaron and Alex doing the nasty. Then we got Duolingo Rebecca doing the nasty with the guy at the casino. And here we got Bobby Frey doing the nasty. Now, I will tell you, this actor Bobby Frey that's playing this role, he is I can't tell if he's supposed to be comic relief, because in the last episode he wasn't comic relief. He gave you psychopathy, but this time it's almost like he's overplaying the role. He's playing like a it's almost the best way, if any of you all watch anime, and if you watch like Naruto Shippuden, you remember how they kind of made Ochimaru was a big villain in just the Naruto series, and then when it comes to Naruto Shippuden, they have him almost like in a comedic type role. And I didn't like that, because if he's gonna be a villain, let him be a villain. And this is how he feels. This is how Bobby Trey feels to me. He feels like a very comical type situation. And the actor that's playing him, because like last season he was scary. This season he seems like a caricature of his role in the first season. So we'll continue to figure out if he's going to get to be menacing, continue to be menacing. Is he going to get back to being menacing? But right now he gives me comic relief, and that whole sex scene just seemed very comical to me. It just, they was in there just doing the nasty. So we find out again, the Duolingo murder twins. They're down there in their mother's hometown. And so we find out that Crestwood, which is owned by the Durand man, the initial person that set this whole investigation in motion, that they hired the children from the village to process food. So this has had to be in whenever this was. They said kids were injured, and that was Frankie. They said that other children were pruned from the timeline to cover it up. So, and that's like I told you before, Duolingo murderer Rebecca finds out that her mother had been in the village, and everybody in the village knew who her mother was. Her mother was a doctor, and they helped him out. One of the girls in the village invited Rebecca to her quinceañera, and Rebecca wasn't going to go at first, but Duolingo murderer Donnie said, "Hey, I got Paul. I can go ahead and do Paul's murder, but you need to get out here. It's rare that you'll be able to connect with your people. You need to go and you need to connect with your people." And that's what she did. But she got a little antsy, Duolingo Rebecca, because of the fact that people were telling her about her mother, and she was feeling a little uncomfortable. She was feeling a little awkward about it, and that, I mean, that's okay. But she was just feeling a little awkward about it because, again, she was a young girl. Mother had been ripped from her when she was when she was young, and so she's had some feelings and about that and about her mother. But it appears that Rebecca is avenging her mother's death the way she needs to avenge her mother's death. Now, I didn't mention this in the first and second episode, so I'll go ahead and mention to it now. She has and I don't know what to call the practice. It gives me, they have altars, and she has altars. I don't know if it's voodoo, santeria. I don't know exactly what it is she's practicing, but it is a spiritual practice that she's doing, and Lincoln follows that same spiritual practice. We see Aaron is back out on a date with Trevor, and he's bigging himself up. He's talking about, how he wants to get married. He needs his Michelle Obama. He's looking at Aaron to do that. He's kind of giving his little resume as being a good guy and how she do. And then what does Aaron do? Aaron is talking about how she's still in the life of her ex and how she's with the kids and all this other stuff. And I don't know if she thinks that that's endearing to her, but to him, it's like, something's not right. There is something about y'all's relationship that's not. He's feeling a little suspect, and she's starting to pick up on it. But she might be losing Trevor, honey, because and we do get it. We do get Aaron and what's his name, Cross, talking in regards to him saying, talking about him being around her being around the kids, and he was wanting her to stop. And she basically told him, she says, you know what, everybody in your life, when they need somebody and they want to call, they're calling her, and she's going to be there for them. And again, I got an issue and problem with that, because you're confused. Both of y'all are confusing people. I don't know if it's, like I said, if you're going to break up, do a clean break. All of this, if you're going to be together, be together. If you're not, you got to cut ties with the children, with Nana Mama, with everybody. But for some reason, Nana Mama is not in place. She's still in Virginia with the friend, and everybody is looking for her to say to speak on LaDonna and all this other stuff. So I don't know what Nana Mama is doing, but she is not where she needs to be, in my opinion. John goes back to DC. He talks to his mother about, asking her about the murder. She's in there trying to, oh, my baby. I was just, if I had been strong enough to do all of this copping out. You didn't want to be with your child. Whatever you had going on was more important than you being a mother to your child. He don't want to hear that. He asked you a question just because now, I don't know why people think you make these decisions and think that your children are going to feel some kind of way or be very happy about you coming back in their lives when you hadn't even told them why you left in the first place. Child, a mess. I put in my notes. Mama doing too much. She really is doing too much. She was giving that woe is me with I said her little selfish ass. And he wasn't budging. He was sticking on business. He asked her about the stuff that was going on. She acts like she didn't want to tell it, then that's her business. Just go over and just kind of finish John up in this case. John is at home. He's reviewing the notes before he goes and sees his mom. His girlfriend Malika is talking to him and everything, and he's getting a little upset. He's asking her to leave, and she tells him, "I'm not gonna leave. I'm not gonna do that. I don't care how mad you get. I'm not gonna leave. I see that you're hurting, and you need somebody to be here, and I'm not gonna leave you." So shout out to Malika, and shout out for John for recognizing that he did need somebody to talk to, because like I said, his friend Cross is not in a position to be able to be a friend like that to him right now. Baby Cross and Craig go out for drinks. They get the line dancing and taking back shots. It wasn't no boots on the ground line dancing, but they was doing whatever they did. Damn it if they don't kiss, and damn it if they don't do the nasty the damn selves. And it's to the point when Cross woke up in Craig's bed, he didn't even remember if he did it or not. He was so drunk. But they did the nasty too, child. Duolingo killer Donnie, he goes to kill Paul, but baby Paul fought back, and that's gonna get them because of the fact that he should have just went in and juke them and went on about his business. But he wants to kind of have a little conversation, thinking he's the bigger man in the fight. But Paul fights back. He pops Duolingo Donnie in the head with a rock. So Duolingo Donnie's blood is at the scene now. So that's one of the little mistakes that he made. So when Craig and Cross get up, they get a call from the sheriff, who tells them that that suspect Homeland Security agent had taken Lincoln out of detention. And they go to and they said that the car crashed. They go to the crash site, and they're thinking that the Homeland Security officer had pruned Lincoln from the timeline, and that's not the case. Lincoln pruned him from the timeline. So again, he was suspect. I believe he knew about the trafficking, and he was hired to make sure that he takes care of Lincoln, but Lincoln took care of him. And at the end of the episode, Lincoln meets up with Rebecca at her aunt's home, because that's where he wanted to go, because Rebecca is the light. He considers Rebecca is the light. And that was the end of the episode. I will tell you, we have gone over the first 3 episodes, and I will tell you again, this episode is not as dark as the first season. I think the side quests is what I'm gonna call them, are more interesting. And before I forget, I did want to talk about Bobby Trey, because you remember I told you he was in there doing a nasty with the nail tech. Come to find out that the nail tech is the mother of Ibrahim Mustafa. And so Bobby Tech is in there like the daddy from Baby Boy in his drawers, in his Speedo like drawers, cooking in the kitchen. So when Ibrahim walks in the door, he's talking to him. He says, "Look, aren't you the accountant over here? Don't you the archivist to do this? Well, I need to talk to you. You need to get me these files." And he's like, "I can't do that. This is some dangerous people, and I might get in trouble or anything." And Bobby Trey threatened Homeboy. And what's so funny about the whole situation, Bobby Trey looks like he's 5, maybe like 5'5", 5'4", 5'5", and Ibrahim looks like he's all of a bit like 6'2". But the way he sunned Ibrahim running around there, because he went off, he said, "How is it that you making $150,000 a year and you still living at home with your mom?" It might be a business investment. Don't knock it, and he ain't married. So what's the biggest of the deals? Because his mama's a nail tech, so she's not making that much money. I don't think. I don't know how much nail techs get, but I'm quite sure that you make a certain amount. You'll make a certain amount of money, but I don't want to talk because I really don't know. But his salary plus her salary is probably good living in the DC area. All right, people. Again, it's moving too slow for me. I feel like I know more information, and it's just like waiting for the murders to happen. That's the way I'm feeling right now. So unless something happens in this fourth episode that kind of brings the stakes up, it's just like we're just running around waiting for the murders to happen. So we kind of figure out who is about to get pruned from the timeline. And it's just like we're just waiting for that. I think that the side quests are more important. I want to know more about this bad religion op that she went on. Why are people dying from that? Why is she set to take the fall for that? What is she going to do so that she won't take the fall for that? Child, we will see. Also, I am interested to see how John handles his mother going to trial. And where is Nana Mama? She is just out somewhere and she's not answering any types of questions. I need questions answers, and she needs to answer those questions for me. All right, people, this was a little longer than I wanted it to be. Y'all, please tell a friend, tell a kin, tell a coworker, tell that heifer that you can't stand that I'm over here making these videos. And as always, people, bye bye.